Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to, well, a riverside walk in the centre of Vienna. Not many visitors here, that's for sure. I'm trying to retrace my steps from 11 years ago, 2012. I was here and I sort of stumbled across an interesting museum. It is a tramway museum, but it's a very important one, and I'll explain to you why later. I have a vague recollection there's also a cafe there, which is also a good thing because I need some breakfast. Right, it's down here about 2 kilometers. We do a right turn. I think that's where it is. Wish me luck. Now that looks familiar. The Austrians are big on putting the years of construction on buildings, which is cool. And here we are. The trams of Vienna used to be a symbol of the city. They were red, they used to have an Austrian flag flapping at the front. Now they've been replaced by bland, modern-looking trams that you could probably find anywhere in Europe. Let's go inside, see if we can find one of the old trams. I don't think you really have to be into trams that much to come here. Okay, there's lots of kids, but there's couples and everything here, because trams are an integral part of Vienna. Now we're talking. This looks like one of the old ones. Okay guys, confession time. I have been here before, but this is not the one I had pictured in my mind. I remember getting off a tram, walking across the road, going in there, very sleek, very modern museum. I have no idea where that museum was. I can't think where in Europe. About 10, 15 years ago did I visit a tram museum, but I know I've been to one somewhere. This isn't it, but I have been here before. That's going to annoy me. Right, let's go exploring. This place smells like a museum. It's got kind of a rubber, kind of oily kind of smell. These are the kind of old trams I love. 1925 they were built, operated until 1961, so they definitely got their money's worth. It was saying on that plaque there that they were originally painted red and white like the rest of the trams, but they painted them red because the dust from the brakes would make the trams look dirty. It reminds me of the Sydney Metropolitan trains in the 1980s. They were painted what they called the candy colours. They were white, yellow, orange, that kind of colour. And they soon realised that they were no good because it showed the pollution and the dirt that was in Sydney at the time. I love these kind of trams. If you ever see some old black and white photos of Berlin or German or even Austrian cities before the Second World War, these are the sort of trams that you'd find in the streets. And you can't get in to have a look. I wanted to try one of the seats. Third class seats. Wow, they look uncomfortable. It's not just trams that are here, it's everything to do with urban transport in Vienna, including the U-Bahn and the buses. Let's go inside.
U4, D, G, 1, 2, 4A, 59A, 62A, 65 und zur Lokalbahn nach Baden sowie zur Linie 3a. Bitte alle auf sowie zur regionalen.
They've even left a graffiti on the doors. That's brilliant.
Keplerplatz. Umsteigen zur Linie 14a.
I'd love to take this home as a souvenir. Somehow I don't think it's allowed. Imagine that, in the 1950s and 60s there was a plan to have a monorail in Vienna. You just can't imagine that now, can you? This museum I have in my head, I still can't work out where it was. Is there a tram museum in Szczecin, in Poland? That might be it, if there is. If it's not, then I have no idea. You learn something every day. Rechtsfahren, drive on the right. But I didn't realise up until 1938, Austrians drove on the left side of the road. I hadn't realised there were so many different types of trams in Vienna. I love the description here. Let's see if I get it right. Distinguishing features, minimum material usage, limited comfort, but large capacity. Yeah, wooden seats again. Well guys, that's Remise. That's Vienna's Transport Museum, and it is a fascinating place. You don't have to be into trams to have a good time here. It's loaded with history. It has changed a fair bit since I was last here though. In the past you just paid your entry fee and you just wandered around the static displays. Now they have a lot of interactive things to keep the kids happy. There is an organised way of walking around the form of tram shed here if you want to, or you can just wander around as I did. Thoroughly enjoyed it, although I still can't work out where that other transport museum was because it had a cafe and I am starving. Anyway guys, thanks very much for coming along on this little journey, and I'll see you next time.